right, everyone. Welcome to the close. Welcome to the last half an hour in the hour of power of obviously Wall Street's movements. Thought we'd start here today just talking about which sector is actually performing well, which sector is performing poorly. Gold out in the lead, just barely there. Look at that gold. Was out a lot more before, up 1.8%. This is our expectation now for the next possibly even couple of weeks. We may see gold continue to be one of the strongest sectors in the market. We've certainly covered that in the private community. We've covered that a fair bit, even on the channel. We've got XLY, consumer discretionary, backing it up, 0.67. And really, other than that, you'll notice most things are down today. So most sectors are down. Energy down 1.69%. Financials down 1.02%. And even technology overall down 0.28%. So it's really just consumer discretionary, gold, and a little bit of healthcare that's floating out and above in front. Let's take a look at the US 500. We're down 0.18% here early. 0.18%. Tertiary dog, it does not like crisp. No, crisp, but seem to be behind on the genetic stuff at the moment. And that's the problem. That's the thing with biotech, is that you don't really ever buy one company. You buy all of them. if you're going to go with agreement. I've always said that. It's one of those things where it's very, very tough for you to pick any specific one because when they are behind, or the volatility that's in those orders or any of the studies, it can be very, very bad. US 500 here. So we've got this potential double top that people are talking about. This is one of those points where we're at an area where basically we know that we have our community trend line. So we know our community trend line is here. Then we come up and reach that same point, and we see a little bit of selling pressure today from the bears. Is it much? No. The market's been very lackluster. I mean, it hasn't really moved much at all recently when you think about it. Yes, it's gone down. Yes, it's gone up. But this is actually quite small movement for the market overall. I'd be interested to see how Nvidia reports today. Obviously, we have that coming into the close. That'll be something that we want to look at because Nvidia's report may be, funnily enough, may be a small catalyst towards this market. But if we look at this currently, we just have this looking chart. And really what this is so far told us is up, up, up. And for us to go down, we need to change a trend. To get a change of trend on at least a 1 hour, we need to have a new low. So we need to really get past this area here, which is that 46.85. If we close underneath that zone, then at least we've kind of said, okay, we've pulled back to 47. Now we've found further weakness and we're ready to move back down. At this stage, all of this smaller time frame trend has been up. I mean, you can see here the 1 hour, the lightning bolt change of trend. That began that kind of rally. Now, if you want to go back down, you've got to get underneath. For bulls, all they're looking for is just above this level. All you're looking for is above this level. And I would guess that if you get a day above this level, you get another green day. Maybe even 1 to 2 good green days in a row before seeing another bearish day. So this could be still a very good spot for a lot of the bulls in the market right now. You get above the high, certainly looking a lot better. US 100, Nasdaq was up before, then it came back down. It's kind of hovering around the same area. Again, this has gone and tested the highs. If we go and we get like the kind of like little breakdown here, guys, 16,284. So maybe 16,278, something like this. We need a new low underneath this zone. And this might take a while to actually form some weakness. Tesla is doing what Tesla does, thinking. What can I say? It's just gold to trade. Yeah, so Tesla's bounced off the 1,000. If we move over to that, we'll move to IWM in just a second. So Tesla bounced off the 1,000. It's floating right up to the resistance. We can see it's testing that 1,100 area at this stage. And this will be an interesting area for it because we breached the 1,100. Well, my expectation would be let's go test the old highs again. We've created that double bottom, but we are at the resistance coming into the close here for Tesla. So just be wary of that one. That's the resistance. That's where we expect maybe some weakness to come back in from the sellers. Maybe a little bit of profit off the 1,000 to 1,100 area. All right, IWM. Russell 2000 coming into the close. This one here, weakest market today, small caps. It's actually come and hit the little daily 20 moving average. So that's not too bad. We've talked about this quite a few times. This is where we'd hope to get to. Well, we hope to get into this zone. Ideally, the rest of the market would be coming with it. Here's the rally movement. So this is basically what we expect from a rally once it breaks out. You've got to give it time. You can't just sit here and say, oh, I think it's going to happen tomorrow. It's not a hyper stock. It's not. It's an index, and generally they take time to play out. I mean, you've seen how long this thing's consolidated for. So when we get a breakout, it can take some time to get up here. So you've got to play the seasonal. It's a multi-month approach kind of position. That's the way you really look at it. Multi-month. Diz not long-term hold, says Hot Potato Trader. Okay. Hot Potato Trader says IWN entering my scale zone. Yeah, that's fair enough. And a few people crying about Disney. Let's have a look at Disney. I haven't looked at it in a little while. I know its earnings were crap and it went down underneath. 153 I have highlighted here. I guess I maintain that. 150. Yeah, probably around 150 to 153 from a technical base. Reason, previous peak. And then, of course, we have that 147. So you'd be drawing up a box here and hoping for turnaround stories. Doesn't look like it's got a turnaround story on it just yet. So maybe a bit of decline, turnaround story in here. Lightning bolt, double bottom, these types of things would be really, really great. Thanks so much to the 400 people joining us so early in the early in the stream. And if you could please give us a like if you enjoy our streams, it does help us out, and that will tell YouTube what's up. US 10-year down at this stage, so we didn't see another spike in it. It's basically at that support. So previous resistance acting as support currently. We hope it does spike here. If you want the 10-year up, it's got to kind of jump off this zone in the next couple of hours. We've also got some crypto to cover later in the stream, so that's going to be really exciting. And it looks like gold and silver have come back up to test these zones. So look, do we still think this 1872, 1870 zone is big? Absolutely. We've breached that. We should be seeing stronger gold coming into that 1910 into the end of the year. We saw the GDX before. That sector's doing really well. And silver bounced as well off the 2480. Now what we hope it to do is breach this little area here. So we'd love to see it go bam, bam, break through, close above. And then, of course, once it gets through 2540, that'll begin what we believe is going to be a participation zone. So a lot of silver bugs will be really looking for that 2540 plus closure, and gold to get above 1870 plus. Got a couple of stocks here that have come in for some people to have a look. AAPL up nicely today, 1.92%. Yep, it's nice. Breached this little downtrend here, you can see. So here's the little one that we talked about yesterday. It came straight through this morning, trading at 153.89. So it's a nice movement here for Apple. Probably why the Nasdaq's really just holding up. We got Tesla, we got we got Apple, we got some of the FANG stocks just holding. Really, if you look at this market. Let me just scroll down here. Green in the FANG stocks. What else have we got? Look at this. Oh my goodness, look at Roku, down 11.51%. DK&G down another bit. You can see why the Russell's getting hit today. It's just it's a slaughter fest through so many of the smaller caps and so many companies, but it's just this FANG holding up. But yeah, nice little day trade there. If you were watching the stream yesterday, this is obviously how we must have analyzed it, and it was very nice. So yeah, to breach that, come through, great stuff. Well done. Where next for Apple? Well, I still think that 165 is open for the end of the year. I mean, of course, we're in a time where it's tough to say that it isn't going to have little pullbacks. And the reason why is because when we're moving towards this 165, we're also at a peak on the NAS. So if the NAS doesn't break out to a new up, then Apple may also just turn around a little bit here. Got Amazon still floating around, still having a really big problem with this 3600 area. You can see it's just consolidating here. 3,600 closure out should be an amazing day trade. I'm really waiting for that. I think the day trade's there. We've already talked about the longer term aspect of this one. It's just taking its time. Apple broke out to trigger my FOMO, but just a warning to the community, I am Pavlov dog. Okay. Thank you very much. I did well on my swing trade on Apple today. Well done, your mum. That's good. Visa, please, from May AU. We'll have a look at Visa. Let's check it out. That'll be down, I assume. All the financials are down. Oh, it hit our 200. Nice. Look at that. Slammed that 200 and went straight up from it. Yeah. This thing really has been in heavy decline. It's crazy. People say that the market's obscene and stuff, but there are some companies that are not exactly doing that well. Like Visa's one of them, of course. I think the market's not as obscene as people think sometimes. Some stocks were obscene, and you're really seeing the punishment coming in on those. I mean, probably Roku is one of them. I must admit, I never understood that stock. So $200 is reached, and it's bounced straight off that. It's going to be a strong psychological level. We've gapped well down here. 2 hour, you can see the buyers coming in off that one. Is this enough to say, oh, the base is there? Look, for investors, this is be one of those areas where they say, okay, I'm buying the dip and I believe in this company fundamentally or something, and they might just pick 200. I mean, that would be very valid. For a trader, you've got to really wait for the turnaround story. The lightning bolt, the double bottom, all of these types of things become very powerful and very important around these zones. So I think that's a big one. Tom, did you see the Visa news with Amazon? What's the news? I mean, I know that Visa got kicked or had like a 0.5% surcharge with Amazon. Is that the news, Simon? Square and PayPal not doing well either? No. No, Square down to all the financials down. 2.74 down. Visa seasonality coming up too. Okay. Let's quickly go down here. Where's the old PayPal? 4.64. Yeah, see, the problem is we just haven't seen the turnaround story on the bigger timeframes yet. We may. I mean, maybe we find a base here, comes back down, finds a base, breaks through here. Hey, at that point, I'll get back involved in PayPal as well. Amazon not accepting Visa from the UK. It doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me because the thing is that what I believe Amazon's going to do is they're going to basically not only charge card manufacturers like huge swathes of money, but they actually might even invent their own crypto and then basically have their own crypto involved in their own walleting transaction. I mean, it just makes sense. They're so powerful now. But look, this Visa thing, I don't see how people didn't really notice it coming. In Australia here, maybe it was different in America. In Australia, they put a 0.5% surcharge only on Visa. So it was 0.5% surcharge on all transactions, only Visa. And they announced that months ago. So, yeah. Because of the Brexit surcharge increases, apparently. Yeah, due to high fees, Amazon not accepting Visa. But they accept plenty of other things. So I'm surprised about that. Anyway, let's continue going through some stocks here. There's plenty going through. PayPal is near its base again, around that 200. We need to see further recovery action before we can get very strong in those types of areas. Let's now have a look at some other stocks. We'll look at Crowd to start off with. So people want CrowdStrike Holdings. So Crowd came into, the earnings is 14 days away. So Crowd came into, I thought they had their earnings for some reason. Anyway, we basically saw this breakout here, this false breakout. Wasn't strong enough to get past that previous high, 296. So this is just underneath 300. I guess you draw it there now because you don't want to make stuff up in the future. And we're in the middle of this range. So there's no real strength or weakness here. If you are going for this type of stock, then we really want to say, well, just go double check that earnings, make sure that's correct. But you've got a lot of strength coming in potentially due to net and other things. I'd be looking for it to kind of optimistically go towards the resistance if earnings is there. That's the usual thing that this does. Now, if you think that this is a whole channel kind of movement, I'd go conservative here, but I would say you're looking at the potential of this thing up to 350 should it break out the top. Amazon branded US card is a Visa card, so the bigger news might be writing on the wall that they sever ties with the USA with Visa. I agree with you, Chris. I think it's very possible. I think they're doing this. This is the play. They're going to say they don't need any one card manufacturer anymore. They don't need them. People will just go, how many people have more than one card here? Or more than one payment device, being it some other payment gateway, a PayPal or I don't know, Afterpay or something like that. How many people have more than one? So I'll put my hand up. I've got more than one. There's no way that I ever had just a Visa or just an Amex or just a MasterCard or whatever else. I think most people have more than one. Let's find out what the community says that. Remember, that's not disclosing your financial information. But some people get funny about these things. It's not. You just say well, one or two. It doesn't really matter. Or three. Okay, keep going. Let's go through some more stocks here. Do we see any opportunity today? So let's have a look at some of these ones we've been watching. ABB, nice breakout here. Klim will be happy. This is a one that he's been looking at for a while. We shared it with the community earlier in the week, and it's nice to see a 1.64%. It's a good little setup, double bottom, nice little consolidation into the peak here, coiling, series of higher lows, and just come out the gate very strong. So that's fantastic to see. A bit of volume coming in there as well. For that stock, SWK floating above the recovery line, still just kind of floating around there. Been a few days now of consolidation, so it's not too shocking. Let's have a look. BMY, another one that's on a pullback. You can see here resistance support. Nice little close here for it. John Deere continues to stuff around, unfortunately, with their collective bargaining agreement stuff. Plus, you've now got earnings on the side. While this breakout looked to be positive for it, it's just stumbled there while we've had all these problems. And that's, sometimes how it goes. Up to you whether you want to take that into the risky earnings period. And then J&J, still doing absolutely nothing here. Let's have a look at Snap. So Snap still hasn't shown us the recovery path. I'm going to put a little resistance down here, go down to a 4-hour. So I think we've got an accumulation base now forming on Snap. And this is important because as we know, accumulation bases are the beginning of getting involved in a stock. This is why you also sometimes don't want to buy the dip. You can be sitting there for potentially months, if not years, and especially with penny stocks. Remember, if you're buying a blue chip tech stock, there's a chance it comes back. But if you're buying a penny stock, there's a chance that it will never come back. In fact, a very high chance of getting stuck in the sideways. We'll let the community say, have you ever been stuck in a sideways penny stock, guys? Again, I'll put my hand up. That has happened to me. Funny that Amazon credit card is Visa. Yeah, that is pretty funny. Old possum. Let's have a look how many people have multiple cards. Most people have 2, 3. Some people say 13. I'm not sure why that is. Almost all of them, Barack says. Multi-cards for credit building. 2. Yes. Nope. Just have 1. PayPal and Visa. PK Subban can never buy anything from Amazon again. That's the norm. Yep. Most people saying yes, more than 1. A lot of people talking about DK&G as well. Let's have a look at that. So we've kind of speculated that's weak and very weak at this stage. And it looks like it really is very weak. I can't see it stopping before getting down to this 35 area. We've got to remember a few things about this. It started SPAC-like, yeah? Did this stock start as a SPAC? I can't remember how it started. I think it was a SPAC because it comes in at $10. So it went nuts during the 2020 period. And look, I'm not sure how it's run. I know that their ads are everywhere. You watch the UFC, their ads are everywhere. You watch boxing, their ads are everywhere. If I was to know one of these sports book companies online in the US, this would probably be the one. It's worth currently $15.39 billion at this current market cap. I mean, to me, the market in America could be massive. I mean, I don't know how many states now legalize this type of stuff and how much this company really does earn. But yeah, it's certainly weakening here. And there's a lot of concerns. Obviously, where was it? Around here, I believe, or here was when the hedge fund kind of attacked it and said that this thing was not what it seems. It then went up and now it's back down into this zone. So I guess if they'd held their position, which they probably didn't, but if they did, then they'd be pretty happy with themselves being correct right now. Let's find out what happens here. 35 is where I feel like the base forms. It's looking like it's in a participation towards the downside. Remember, that works two ways. If you break past a key support, where do you go? Generally to the next support. Why is Visa probably trading around $200? Not just because of Amazon. It's been weakening now for some time. DKNG generation buying opportunity, says Charles Marks. It possibly could be. I think you really want to look at the fundamentals of this company. This is not necessarily a technical trade. So while you might be able to find technical buy levels with the technical analysis, you don't necessarily want to be buying this and saying, oh, I think it's turning around. It's not. It's acted technically before, but it's not really a great trade. It's more of a possibly an investment or something like that if you believe in the fundamentals. Tom, please do a put call wall review of the Nasdaq, etc. Yeah, look, the problem is I only do put call wall reviews when they're really worth it. And I'll show you why they're not worth it right now. Let's have a look here. Let's grab this up. So I'll grab your QQQ. Put call walls, I think people misinterpret them as when they're worthwhile looking at, when they're not. So at this stage, if you think about where we're at, really this is the only interesting strike, which is about that 380 strike. There's a lot of puts and a lot of calls here expiring for the 11th and 19th. Now, the problem with that is, where are we currently on the QQQ? So if we go over to the QQQ, we're sitting at a price of 397. So we're really much, much higher than where the put call walls are. Now, that could show you, oh, well, maybe the market should come down before Friday. I don't think that's going to happen. You know, most of the strikes are sitting around here. This is exactly the area that you would have hoped the market to be at. If it was down here, previous resistance, heavy buying pressure, all of those types of things. Put call walls are good when they are helping your technical analysis. But first and foremost, your technical analysis must be used. So this is not going to help you that much. I mean, you do have some sitting around $400. You got a little bit of calls. You have a huge amount of calls and puts sitting here, which kind of neutralizes the market there. And you've got this really large put that's expiring here at 350. That poor person, 350 put. Ugh, nasty. Nasty, nasty, nasty. So these are the three areas. And I wouldn't use these areas necessarily. Now, if it came down to 380, would I pay attention to this strike? Yes, I would call that a base. So I would say that it's very unlikely, if it was there this week, for it to expire underneath this area. Okay, a few people want SE. We'll look at Nvidia as well. We've done our discussion about the market so far coming in. So that's, of course, for the S&P 500, Nasdaq. We're not seeing any weakness here into the close or anything. SE comes down to 300, spiked heavily off that. How do I feel about this? I think the price of this stock is expensive. And I like the stock a lot, but I think it's expensive. Where would I like to buy it? Probably around 280 if I was really getting excited about getting back into this thing. Yeah, it's underneath our little trend line here. You can't deny that it's been there for a while. They had to go back to the market to get finance. I think they burned cash with their rapid expansion very quickly. This is a hyper stock like no other hyper stock. It's worth 182 billion. It doesn't really make any money. So just remember that it's got great potential, but at the same time, it needs to continue to present very good earnings. And I think this is just another bit of a shock probably coming in from maybe the Amazon news as well. Could we have a look at Activision again? It's going just for a good chuckle. No, no Activision today. Leo Cup says, I haven't used PayPal in years, but I have to wait for my new bank card to renew to use. Westpac wouldn't let me use my cash deposit on crypto. Okay, fair enough. No worries. And people want to look at BA. Fair enough. Let's check out BA here. Hello, where are you, BA? I thought I had it here. Oh, there it is. 0.38%. So BA started a little bit better this morning. That's come down. I feel like it should be doing better. We've got nice breakout from the downtrend. We've got a strong kind of closure up here, signaling that we're ready to start to pop. We've basically filled them, and we haven't fully filled, but we've come back down to that previous resistance. This is the time for Boeing. Come on now. If it's going to go, it needs to go now. Like this, sure, little bit of resistance, you could say, but we need to get past here to begin participation. I want to see this thing at 260 in the next month. That's where I want to have it at. 260. Participation, get us in. That's what we want to have it find. So this is a bit of a resistance, I guess you could say, the last kind of level before there's really no excuses for this stock. 2200 on the 4-hour here. There's plenty of dynamic support from the moving averages underneath. Surely it's the time for Boeing to turn around. Only up 0.37 today. Not very good. Bit disappointing. Let's take a look at Nvidia. Where are we, Nvidia? Down 3.08%. So here's a poll. We're 2 minutes off the close. We've got the markets coming down a little bit into the close. We'll take another look at the US 500 in a second. I'm not focusing on any one particular stock too much because we're at a very important point for the market. If the market falls here, remember, a lot of stock buys are suddenly going to go weaker. Let's think about Nvidia. Up or down, guys, into the earnings. What do you think? It's down 3.08% right now. Is it a buy the rumor, sell the fact? Remember, it's up 50% coming into this earnings, so they better do damn good. 50% coming into this earnings. A few people asking about crypto. We'll cover that after the close, before the Nvidia earnings. In terms of earnings today, we have Nvidia. We've got Cisco. Let's have a quick look at Cisco into the close as well. Amazing how good Cisco has really been. Look at that. You're picking that up November 20 to here. It's at resistance at the pretty much not all-time highs, because I think it was higher during the tech boom. But yeah, we're testing around this area right into the earnings. Look at this. Nasty weekly candles coming in. Imagine if we bust it off. Oh, that would be good. So if the earnings does end up presenting well, look at that. Rejections at this stage. So you close above. What are you saying? Decision made. Let's go up further. All right, here you go. Everyone thinks US oil and 70 this pullback. Yeah, well, I've been saying US oil is buggered for a little bit. The weekly was nasty. It's coming down. We go to the daily. You know, the community here, you guys know, you got big brains community. You are very, very well aware of where to take those profits out, hey? Well done. You guys know that 86 area was struggle town USA, and now we're moving back down. We're sitting around this kind of 78, 50 area. We might even float on down even lower than the 77. And my expectation was the 77, find some buying support and move back up. The US oil is still weakening hard. And this is not exactly the strongest move here. So people saying rumor expectations for Nvidia. And then a few people saying Shane Hughes says Nvidia will rocket up. Man, you're wrong. Semiconductors, great long-term investment as chip demand grows faster than ever. Yes. That's good, Silverliner. Well done. I think I need an earnings that cures. Okay. Strangelove does not believe, obviously. Ran up too much. Few people down. Says a few people. Got to say down. Sell the fact down. Sell the news down hard. We love Nvidia here, but I will go with the down. I mean, they're going to have to get a very, very nice report to really push this through. Now, I did have a question here from someone. I think it was from Midas, and it was RMBS Rambus. Let's have a quick look at that. So RMBS Rambus. Supposedly it was a good. This has got to do with Nvidia, something to do with chip manufacturing. Yeah, that's valid. I mean, they're saying inverse head and shoulders. I think regardless, it's got a nice breakout on it. It's actually what might be a pretty good trend line as well. Yeah, very nice trend line. Does that go through the bottom? Let's have a look. Oh, not too bad. Almost. So this trend line is pretty solid. It's broken out above. Nice little consolidation into the breakout. Very strong. Could have a couple of days of ramp on it as well. So that's RMBS from a member of the community sharing it, just in terms of technical analysis. All right, so we've closed here. Let's have a look at the two markets into the close. We'll split them up here. We'll go US 500 after the hours and US 100. Let's talk about what happened today. So in realistic terms, what have we seen? Well, not much. The market came down. The financial side really was probably the biggest story. Let's have a look at the 1 hour here on the US 500. So at the start of the stream, we were talking about this idea of maybe getting underneath 46.80. We have not seen that. I actually want to get it under this level, ideally, to really show us that the market is ready to go back down. Now, you breach this zone, you make it a big deal. US 100 barely kind of got hit there. If Nvidia fails, maybe there's a chance that this will come down as well. So we're into the earnings period here, and we'll have a look at Nvidia. I think it's 4:20 in the US for the release. Can anyone just confirm that? I think it's 20 minutes after the close for the release there. So we'll do some crypto while we get into it and just a few requests. I don't think we've got any super chats. If I have, I missed one. Dave, just send it through if you're there, man. Yeah, I think we're pretty good. Please bring up Nvidia earnings call, Tom. Yeah, I probably should do those. I won't today, unfortunately. I'll just bring up the chart. SPX, another reason why it could be finding some resistance. We've got here the 47.20 resistance. So that's where we're at. 420? Yeah, 420. Okay. Let's move over to crypto. Bitcoin, 0.23%. Let's now have a look at this. So Bitcoin barely up. Let's talk about where the road to recovery is. So yesterday I saw it go underneath, and it did it for a second. Here's the little like spiky underneath. Never closed under there, quickly reversed. And that's so sneaky of them. Obviously taking liquidity underneath here, taking people's stop losses out, hitting it, and then reversing. So you can tell there's a lot of, I guess you would go with the idea of manipulation. Manipulation. Why else would it go underneath just barely? Take out stops, enter shorts, all sorts of things that are sitting around this price. And then it fully reverses there very, very quickly. Nice manipulation going on there from the bulls and the bears, mostly the whales. Let's talk about the longer term prospects here for Bitcoin, though. So we've put pressure on this base. We know it's big deal. You close underneath the base, big deal. You know, we're talking 54, 52K after that. So some pretty substantial drops to get us that 20+% decline. At the moment, we're sitting at about 16, I think. We've also struggled to get past this 2 hour 20, I've noticed. We've double rejected that. And we've got a resistance high of 61,500. So I'm still looking at 61,500 as the top level here for Bitcoin. Now, almost all my other coin analysis is really relying on this one, because we know what happens to Bitcoin will tend to flow on effect into the other coins. The daily is really important as well as the close. Look at this so far story we have here on the daily. Rejection up, rejection up. Imagine if we close like there, like a nice little bullish hammer, and then we get that follow through story, get through 61.5. All of a sudden we're talking, okay, this is it. We probably have to go up at this stage. So you can really see that Bitcoin, it's all important how this closes today. It's all important on whether we get underneath the 58 kind of 5 area. If we do, down, lots of free space for it to participate into the downside. What do you guys think? Is this the most important zone for us to be looking at in Bitcoin right now? Do you agree with my levels? Do you disagree? Let me know. Miguel G, $1.99. Thank you very much, Miguel. Appreciate the support. Very nice. Silverliner says, I just hit the up vote. Almost forgot. If you haven't, please do it. Thank you very much there. And again, Miguel G, thank you very much for the support. Ask the question, can you check out ARK? Yeah, we can have a look at ARK for you. while we wait for people to tell me about the Bitcoin price. RK trading at 117. Let's have a look at it on the weekly, get a bit of a lie of the land. So you'd think with Tesla being your biggest holding and Tesla being up, RK would have done well. This 2021 is truly not the year for Cathie Wood. And there's a few reasons. She obviously buys innovation or innovative companies. And the problem is they're not always going to rally. They rallied a lot during the pandemic side. They've obviously now consolidated in her fund. And then they may rally again in the future. And this is the thing about fund managers. They often do very well. And when they do stellar well, you'll find the next year is not usually very good. And that's because it's out of their hands. The stock itself has done too well coming into it. But when you're TAing, it's not really great to TA RK. I don't do it for a reason. I mean, maybe I should because probably get more views. But you're basically TAing a whole bunch of companies. So you've really got to ask yourself, let's go look in the top 10 of the holdings and TA them separately. Because is there, like, what are they actually holding? What's moving around here? If you believe in the whole entire sector of what's held in the fund, then you can maybe TA it. At this stage, you're looking for a 126 breakout and you're in the middle of the range. So here's the range. You're in the middle of it at this stage. Go down to the daily. Right in the middle. Nothing much to say. A little bit of consolidation here. Go the 2 hour. Still big consolidation here on the 2 hour. So if you're in the day trade kind of concept, you're looking for a breach of this side or a breach of this side to continue down to either the support or the resistance. That's how the way I look at RK. Let's take some of these Bitcoin questions here. People seem to think I've got the generalized prices fairly well. Terry M says Avalanche. It's a good coin, Terry. I like Avalanche. It's one of the few side coins or altcoins I actually have any idea about. Miriam says, what's BA? Boeing. Yeah, we talk a lot in codes here. doesn't mean it's easy. Yeah, so Boeing is the ticker for that one. So most people seem to like that. Darren Jones, $5. Thank you very much, Darren. Tom, I do not think BTC will be able to close below 58K since the 1 hour is showing the 58K held up as a support 5 times. Yeah, okay, let's go into the 1 hour here. So we've got our one touch. I guess you're going to call each one of these touches. So there's your 5 touches. I just call it 3 touches to the bottom, but fair enough. It's tested it many times. Well, that's why it's so important, Darren. If it gets underneath here, imagine what that means. And I think you've actually answered a great question. And why we really like this zone so much is because if it does breach that level, remember, for me, this is a 1, a 2, and a 3 touch. So that's 1, 2, 3. I often say the 4th one is the weakest. The 4th one's the one that gets it going. When you've identified a zone like this and you've got 4 touches or 5 touches or whatever, we're saying here, Darren, it means that you've really paid attention to the market. You're understanding the left-hand side. You're understanding what the story is telling you. So fantastic. And if it does breach, yes, you're right. It's a big deal. If it doesn't and it keeps holding this zone and we've come through, well, think of it as like a channel, or even possibly might even get like a little Wyckoffy kind of no closure, but just like little spike underneath and it comes back up even stronger towards our upside. I'm not bearish BTC. I'm just saying that at this stage, we haven't got the turnaround story just yet. All my calls are worthless, says James Jason. I'm surprised that's possible. I wonder what you're in, James. Any hope for Cardano? I think Cardano will come back. ADA will come back once everybody decides that it's cool. Cisco, Rev, Miss. All right, let's load up these stocks. So we've got Cisco Systems, Rev, Miss down 6.34%. What a surprise from a company that always misses. So the price action was kind of showing us that might be the way. The weekly in particular, that was a nasty weekly. And it looks like post, it's at 53.25. Now, this is actually pushed down sentiment in the market. So take a look at this, guys. US 500 now down 0.3. And look at that US 100. It's now switched from a positive to a negative. Positive to a negative. So do we now start to move underneath some of these important zones? Nvidia, show us the way. What will you do in the earnings call? Nvidia Corp ended down 3.12%. Has that CEO that continues to make tons of money from selling his positions at incredible prices, he's a beast. Did he do Bitcoin? Yes, I've done Bitcoin a few times. We've got it trapped. Bitcoin's trapped very well. Cisco down 7. Yeah, we saw that. Su Chang, $2. All road leads to ASCO. Check it out. Okay. ASCO. What is this? Motor vehicles. Wow, this is so small. Is this serious? Sue? That's worth 20 million. Oh. I don't know. I don't usually bring up stocks this small on the channel. These scare me always. I don't know why it's down so much. Maybe it's got terrible fundamentals. It seems like it launched and kind of just continued to do poorly. Yeah, there's no real TAing this one. Other than it's around $1. Thank you very much for the support of the channel, though. Tom, love the stream. Possible to look at BLK? Yeah, we can have a look at BLK. That's Blackrock. It's done very well for what it is over the last year. It's at a resistance high and it's sold off fairly aggressively today. Nothing I'm seeing here that makes me go, oh, I really want to own it. Nothing that makes me want to say, oh, I'm really scared of it either. It doesn't seem to be following a trend of any kind. There's no trend line really here. Some people might draw. I mean, remember, they can always draw this trend line, but I like to see at least 3 touches if possible. So 2 touches before until I pick it. So that's maybe what someone might say. Comes down, they buy it up off that level. Not loving the price action here. Not loving that price action. So Nvidia for everyone's coming in 6 minutes. We'll get that 6 minutes till we find it. We've checked out gold today, silver, big rebounds there off a bit of a decline. US 10-year obviously down. VIX surprisingly up here. So we're up about 4.46%. The VIX is pretty jittery. And the market's not down very much. I mean, we're talking, what's it, 0.26%. The VIX has gone up 4.46%. Imagine the explosion in the VIX trade should we actually decline. Very strange how jittery the VIX is. Anyone notice that? Very weird. Nvidia bound to break lower after mega monster run, says Thomas. Yeah, that's the thought of the chat. That's what the chat thinks. Let's look at a couple other stocks that people are sending through. We've got Ginny saying CHPT. Check it out. ChargePoint Holdings. Been a good stock as of recent. Looked to break a new high today. Was unable to do so. So here's a little resistance. Keep struggling around there. The previous day's session was pretty good. So, yeah. I mean, things are looking positive. This is a bit of a long leg doji. You know you're contending with this resistance. But at this stage, positive signs. Bullish hammer. Yes, there's a rejection, but not very much. There's no earnings, thank goodness. So just get through there again, and hopefully you can move up. Where's the next take profit zones? I mean, that's the exciting bit. It's probably about $32. About there. Nice. Tom, can you have a look at Peloton? Can it be a long-term hold? AbCruncher 2000. Can the AbCruncher 2000 be a long-term hold? With Peloton, I don't know how good the tech is. I'd have to use it. I'd have to actually understand whether it's a game changer. Anyone got Peloton gear? Is it a game changer? The stock's hideous right now. I call it the AbCruncher 2000. The real question you've got to ask yourself with long-term hold CHLE is this. MOAT. I believe the most important thing for long-term investment. If you're long-term investing, does the company have a moat? And if it doesn't have a moat, bleh. And if it does have a moat, yay, tick, 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 tick. That's what's up. Elysium says, Peloton sucks. I sent it back after 30-day trial. No exercise equipment is not game changing. It's kind of like saying like reinventing the phone wasn't game changing with the iPhone. It was. I understand that's different, but I think there is the ability for possibly exercise equipment to go a bit further. Not sure I'd buy the stock, but I really like the bike. I don't want to hear you like the bike, Contango. We want to hear you love the bike. Love. I want to hear you love the product. Like the Tesla. When people get in the Tesla car, what do they say? It's game changing, man. That's what they say. It's game changing. People send me photos of them driving Teslas or videos of them driving Teslas. That's how excited they are. They're like, Tom, you got to buy this Tesla. I'm like, all right, guys. All right. One day I'll own the Tesla. I've driven the Tesla next door to me. It's a good car. But I hate their aftercare service. What can I say? I'm sorry, Tesla fans. The aftercare service, from what I understand, here in Australia anyway, is an abomination. Maybe it'll get better. UPST continues to decline here. 4 hour does not look strong. So this is the close. We're waiting the Nvidia calls in 2 minutes. Shooting star here kind of looks weak. We'll still maintain weakness into like that 200-ish bracket here for UPST. Michael? PK Summon does not like the Piton. Thomas says lots of used Pitons for sale locally. Yeah, I would guess that. I think also used car sales, you'll find used cars. Kathy Wood will be right on that one. She's saying there's a buildup of inventory as people don't want to use. Actually, here's another one we can ask quickly. Who's going to go? People that use public transport, are you going to go back to using public transport, or have you been using public transport again in your country? Doesn't matter whether you're in the US or anywhere in the world. Do you use public transport at the moment, or will you go back to using it? Mo Pork says, what's a moat? You really need to read up about that one. Basically, it's how hard is it to attack the business? How hard is it to compete? Is there a competitive advantage from this business? So say like Microsoft has one of the biggest moats in the industry. Imagine trying to make a software that competes with Microsoft and do it successfully. You might need trillions and trillions. You might need $1 trillion to do it as a startup. So it's the cost of competing with that business and actually trying to beat it. Is it even possible? So here's the post market, 2.68%. So oh my goodness, is this real? Have we actually got a beat here? 3.25% for the Nvidia. Putting on what it lost today so far. Let's have a look at the old US 100. So US 100, look, it's reacting. 0.08, 299. We've seen this before, guys. We've seen the market gets kind of excited near the end, gets the earnings result, and then it gets a call later or some guidance or something, and then all of a sudden it's all the way down the bottom. Jeff says, of course it's going to beat. Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. But we're saying beat as in the market actually likes it with the current price. So it's a beat with a beat. they'll have to, it's a beat with a beat. 3.7%. It's dropping 3%. Nvidia already up 3%. Yeah, we see. Let me just quickly load something up. It looks like it's going to stabilize around this 302 for now. Supposedly, Fisker unveiled an electric SUV to beat Tesla over driving range. Oh. 301.41. All right. Beat by 6 cents. Is that enough? Tom, I've had a Tesla. Here's Greg's opinion. Tom, I've had a Tesla for years, and yes, the service could be better, but it's not abysmal. And in 3 years, I've only been there once for a recall, which cost me nothing and gave me a loaner car. Yeah, I think the problem I had was during last year, they ran some of the parts out. So I had a person I know, and they totaled part of the car, and they were without a car for many months, Greg. Many months. So that's my big problem with it. And of course, you need to always use their servicing. So if you're like stuck in Malakuta, which is like a random part of Victoria, I'd be kind of terrified. Let's shout it out for Nvidia to drop, Tom. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if we can shout it. We'll shout it. We can shout it if you want to. We can tell it to go down. But then some people in the chat will be upset. There's a few people here with calls in Nvidia, I'm pretty sure. It's trading at 301, 302.60. It's kind of like jumping all over the place, but not really having an adverse reaction. Not a strong reaction either way, I'd say. It looks like a net, kind of like how net held, and then it went and did its own thing again. Based on this, because the beat's so mediocre, maybe they're looking for an earnings call, like as in like what's the long-term guidance here? I still think it goes down, but that's just me. I sold puts. Please don't go down, Nvidia. Oh, you sold puts? Oh my God. You must have really wanted to hold the stock. I hope they're cash vetted. Wow. Good fishing at Malakuta. Yeah. Long drive to Malakuta. Cisco down 6% post. Yeah, we've covered that one. AMC, please, Tom. It seems to be in a big triangle since June, then broke out, and could be interesting. Yeah, all right. We'll have a look at it. Let's just split this. We'll load up AMC just to quickly check it out. Check it out. Usually with AMC, I get an alert if I think it's interesting. Obviously, that's my price. I have it as interesting, $45. Weekly. Man, selling a put into an earnings call. Oh, I really hope you want to hold the stock, and that's the reason you do that. That's a very dangerous move. Like long term, especially. I mean, you could do it maybe in quality, but not in crap. 42 here post for AMC, down 0.17. I think it's all about this 45 area for me. You've got too much resistance here. You've got little spikes of resistance. There's a lot of randomness going on in AMC in the middle. I'm actually still surprised it's holding these prices after all this time. There really is some apes here holding it up. And I think a lot of it's got to do with like small holders that have like 30 or 50 shares, and they're just sitting there on it, and they forgot about them even having it. They're like, oh, I'll come back when it's $70, or I'll come back when it's $60. They're like the real hodlers, the people that buy stock when everyone else is talking about it, and then they never sell it because they forget about it. They're not traders like you guys. You know the ones. Thomas says selling puts into earnings will end your trading. It certainly could. I too like to live dangerously. The meme. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Garrett says, I will never sell my GME shares, Tom. Absolutely. AMC just consolidating with less and less float. Positive guidance for Nvidia. Okay. You can tell here, though, that even though this is overall being interpreted by the market as maybe it's fair price, maybe, it's not blowing it out. And that's partially why you believe in these things like buy the rumor and sell the fact, because we still don't know where this is going to open tomorrow. I mean, you can see it's floating around. It's going to 302, it's 300, it's 299. Every second it seems to be changing. I feel like going into these events, especially when it's gone up 50% coming into it, just like net, you're better off, potentially having a plan around how to mitigate a risk from a decline. In a lot of circumstances like this, the market will get it wrong and it will drop upwards of 10 to 20% over the next coming weeks. It does happen a lot. Remember this. In the future, if you have something running heavily into earnings, practice risk management up here. Nvidia is worth $1 trillion. I don't doubt it, PS3 Pawns. It could be worth $2 trillion in the next decade, especially if they pull AI off well, which they're probably one of the leaders in. Lunch Bunny says Nvidia Q3 adjusted EPS 1.17 beat 110. It's not amazing. Estimated sales 7.1 billion beat 6.83. Man, to me that seems crap for its price. They better have something in the bullets. That's pretty crap. I don't know about you. We've increased 50% off a 50% increase, off 100% increasement. What's that, Thomas? What about earnings whispers? Up 3%? Yep. It was down 3% today. Over 20 million AMC shorts covered in the background, which is why it hit the 45 mark and then dropped off again. That is not a good sign moving forward. There we go. Their data center business grew 55%. It's pretty good. Sounds like a 7 on the Tom's result scale. Yeah, so when we have like that's right, the 1 to the 10, the market comes in with usually an 8. That's what it wants. And this is like maybe a 7, but I'll check it out. Yeah, you're right. 7 to 8 is what I feel like today's result is like. They have future orders worth like 7 billion. That's why, Tom. Yeah, hey, the business is very good. I have Nvidia. I like Nvidia. Nvidia is good. But again, I'll need to look into it. Those pure numbers aren't enough. So it's got to be these extra things like the 55% data center growth, this Ford $7 billion. Check their margins. That's where their true beat is. Yes. But I don't know if the margin will hold past this crypto craze. Not worth $1 trillion, not yet. It will be. Once they get the AI component through, it'll do a lot better. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. 680 people here. I appreciate the likes. I appreciate the support of the channel. We've got Nvidia sitting around 302. We've got the market here floating around, absolutely doing realistically nothing at the peaks. The US 500 found some weakness today. The notable stories were Visa. If you missed it, Visa gets kicked in the UK by Amazon. They got kicked in the guts. It pushed it down to 200, bounced off that zone. PayPal, Square, other financials all down off that. We also saw US oil tank fairly heavily, down 3.38%. Gold, silver still tend to be the best seasonals we have at the moment in the markets. I know that seems weird. And Bitcoin, watch the support. Let's just quickly bring up Bitcoin to finish off here. Bitcoin. We are heavily watching this support here to see how the interaction ends up lying. 58.6 area, 1 hour. Check it out. If you get on the 1 hour, you'll notice the bounces that have happened off this zone. Here they are. If we do weaken, we close underneath this. Watch out, crypto fam, because I believe that could bring in some participation shorts, hopefully down to these levels here. And then we see that bounce. Let's bring on the bull for the rest of the year. Everyone thinks, by the way, every single person I've spoken to, next week Thanksgiving is going to be bullish. That kind of terrifies me. When everyone thinks something, I'm always like, oh, I don't know. Either way, crypto market's fast. On the top side, we're looking at 61.5 breakout. Thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it. Good luck. I hope you kick some ass in your stocks. And it looks like Nvidia has held up for now. We'll find out what the bell brings tomorrow for it. But it is trading at the close, 301.79. Guidance, pretty good. Earnings, an 8 out of 10. 7 to 8 out of 10 from just the EPS numbers that I've seen. But forward projections and all sorts of things might be the thing that's getting it through here. So the stock's gone up 50% in only a few weeks. It's holding for now. Tomorrow will be the teller. Good luck. Bye for now. Ciao.